Hello, everybody. We're back. It is the college football tailgate, and we're all kind of squeezed in together because we're joined by a special guest, our new co-host, if you will, for the college football tailgate. Everyone already knows it's me, XFL Jim. It's Uncle Rico, but we're also joined by the one, the only Chase Sessoms, aka the Wolf of Oaklawn. What is up, bud? Welcome to the show.
Nothing much. Thank you for letting me invite myself on it. Like, I really think that was cool of you to just roll over and let me take a spot. Like, that's a true friend, Jim.
It's what we do. It's what we do here in the garage. We always watch out for each other. It's always a special time of year when we get to start this show because it signifies to me that college football season's right around the corner.
Right.
I'm so hyped, guys. I can't.
Yeah.
As much as like it's year-round football. I love every second of it. It's great. It's beautiful. It's magical. There's something about college football.
Yeah.
I've literally started like looking, like doing previews for things and like looking into the teams, and so like I'm at like fever pitch right now.
I'm ready to roll. Step. It's that first. It's there's like three big steps for college football, like preseason for me. It's this. It's when we preview the first team. It's once we're done previewing the teams, and then we have like the big show, and then it's just week 0. And it's a roller coaster from there.
Right.
So first episode, we are previewing the Conference USA. We're going to go in alphabetical order. We're going to give you our win total picks if we have them, Eric.
Yeah.
He'll give you lean. Are you going to give leans, Eric?
No, I don't give leans.
Oh, you did a little bit last year.
I got a couple. I'll say if I had to bet. How about that?
Okay. We'll do a couple if you have to bet. I will be going on a side of every pick, and I will be betting. I'll let everyone know what I'm actually going to be betting, but I'll have a side on every play. And Chase, I assume, will be also a wild man. He's got the chain for it.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't get to afford 18-karat gold plated chains like this. Not being a wild man.
It's just a baller.
Just a Chicago, dude. What's on that chain, dude?
I don't have a pendant yet. I'm thinking about getting my beagle with some of them Dookie Brown diamonds, from like Zales.
That'd be a baller move.
I got my little gold chain, dude. I've had this fucker since I was 16, dude. 16. Haven't lost it, dude.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you know this, but my wife will not let me wear this outside of the house.
I can see
that. Literally stopped me at the door earlier before I was like on the way to get some Red Bull.
I felt like the odd man out. I had to get my chain on.
There we go.
I didn't want to be the odd guy out here.
There we go.
Chains up for the tailgate. Let's start it up. We have Florida International, the airport as it's known. Win total is set at 2.5. The conference future for FIU, 50-1. Over under, as I said, 2.5. The over is minus 145. The under plus 120. Let's get into the schedule, boys. Before we do, though, Eric, got any research on FIU?
I do. Quarterback, they got Grayon James back as a starter. Came in during the opener last season, led them come behind win over Bryant, started the next 10, had back-to-back 300-yard passing games, pretty live arm. Running back room took a big blow with Joseph tearing his ACL, more than likely done for the year. They added a kid from South Dakota and a JUCO named Brandon Smith, but losing Joseph is going to be a huge blow. Wide receivers, they lost their top 2 to the portal. That means they're going to be counting on Jalen Braceny to be the number 1. And the one thing that we always talk about is in having that wide receiver that's a chain mover. I really don't feel that Braceny is one of those. I feel he's a number 3 wide receiver, so I think they're going to struggle moving the ball in the air. O-line, they did lose Greg Austin to the NFL. That was their OC. That was their offensive line coach. Very good coach. They're losing both tackles and their center, and this group is only getting 105 yards per game on the ground. So you're losing that much, and your coach, and you only got 105 last year. I think this offensive line is really going to struggle to protect, set up the running lanes. Defensive line, another huge blow. They lost Strickland and Peterson to the portal. They did add Jack Daly from Bryant, who was first team all conference, but losing their top two is going to be a huge blow. Lost their three best players in the linebacker group. They're bringing back Manuel, who finished with 97 tackles. They got the first teamer, Elijah Anderson Taylor from the Big Sky, and Audrey Huff from Miami. So this group could be a little bit better than last year's, but I don't know. Secondary is loaded. Strength of the defense, they added 3 players in the portal, have their top 6 back. They're deep, have some talent. Special team unit struggled the last 2 years. They lost Joseph, who is their returner, which is a big blow, but they're returning their punter and kicker. I think this unit could be good. They're also returning their long snapper. Personally, overall, no Joseph, terrible defensive line. I think they're going to struggle this year.
Yeah, my biggest takeaway for FIU is like both defensive and offensive fronts are going to take a step back from what was nothing really that impressive last year.
Yeah. It seems like they're just a transfer portal, like Oregon donor, pretty much. Like they just get rated, it seemed like, on both sides of the ball.
They're one of the examples of what people were worried about with the transfer portal.
Yeah. Well, Boca Raton means rat's mouth. So come on. How nice of a place can it be? Of course, people want to get out of there.
Exactly. Let's get into this schedule. So they start the season off at LA Tech at Louisiana Tech in Ruston, Louisiana. I'm putting that one up as a loss.
Yep.
I'm going to L. Yeah.
Okay. Maine Black Bears. They host the Maine Black Bears. That's not a gimme.
It's not a gimme, but I'm giving it to them.
I'm going to give them the win here, but that's not a gimme. Then they host North Texas.
Loss.
I'm giving it to them.
I know Chase is very anti-North Texas.
I'm angry.
I'm not giving it to him. I'm going to give that a loss. At UConn afterwards, I'm also counting that as a loss. I think, Eric, are you back on your UConn hype?
Not yet, but I'll count it as a loss.
Okay. After that, they have the Libibity Flames before the bye week. Also counting that as a loss.
That's a loss.
Chase, you have them going with 2 wins into the bye week, I believe.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. We're close. I have them at 1 win, and I don't even that's not guaranteed. Off of the bye week, they play at New Mexico State.
That's going to be a loss in my eyes.
That's an L. That's an
L for me as well. After that, it's UTEP at home.
Beat down City. That's an L.
Yep.
L.
It's tough. At Sam Houston Bearcats afterwards.
It's a dub. It's a dub for me.
Yeah, I'm going to give him the win. I'm going to give him a win here.
Maybe. I'll put me down as a maybe on that one.
Jacksonville State Gamecocks afterwards, I'm putting an L. I think there's no way they get more than 1 win out of this group before the next bye week.
You think they get at least 1 or 2?
No, I think at most they get 1.
Yeah.
Like at most they get one of the wins between New Mexico State, UTEP, Sam Houston, and Jacksonville State. At most.
Right. Okay.
So I'll give them 2 wins there. And then off of the bye week, it's at Middle Tennessee, at Arkansas, Western Kentucky.
Maybe. I mean, the thing with Western Kentucky, like if it's a thing where it's Western Kentucky already has a loss or 2, and they're lining up to get in to be healthy for the Conference USA Championship. And maybe they get that because Western Kentucky's resting some players. You know what I mean? Like, so maybe they'll get that one, but the other 2, Arkansas and Middle Tennessee, no.
Not a chance.
No.
And Chase and me were wondering this with only 9 teams, so they are still playing the championship game. They are still doing like a whole championship game.
They are still doing the championship game, man.
I thought you were required to have like 12 by the NCAA to play a championship game. Oh well.
They made their own rules, man.
Just
I'm sitting at 2 wins here.
I'm sitting at 2 wins too.
I'm at 3.
Chase is at 3. So Chase, you're going over the 2.5.
I'm taking the over 2.5 here. Yep.
I'm going to play a little risky game, and I'm going to take the under because it's plus money. I'm getting plus 120 on that under. I'm going to take a little risk here because I don't even know if they might just get 1. I would not be surprised if they only got 1 win.
I feel like you just summarized Conference USA outside of like 3 teams. It's like they could just win 1.
It's a really bad conference this year. It's really bad. Up next, it's the Jacksonville State Gamecocks. Win total set at 5.5, -115 for the under, -110 for the over. No conference future for the Gamecocks because they are rising up from FCS.
They're returning 43, 9 offensive starters, 7 defensive starters. Zion Webb is back for year number 7.
Wild.
Experience obviously won't be an issue if something does happen to him. They have former Nebraskan great Logan Smothers to back him up.
I'm surprised he's still playing too.
Anwar Lewis will be the lead running back. Averaged 7.1 a carry last season, along with Ron Wiggins, averaged 7.7 yards per carry. They're adding Malik Jackson from UNM. So this group is going to be deep. They're fast. They're talented. I think they're going to lean on this group a lot to provide their offensive attack group. Wide receiver room, they return everyone but a backup tight end. They're adding Jameer Joyner from Arizona. The wide receiver group, they have size, but they really don't have speed. So I think they're really going to struggle to separate, create space. Offensive line, last year, the offensive line was solid, was the strength of the team. They averaged 250 yards rushing per game. This season, however, it's a little different as they are great in the interior, but they have a lot of questions on the exterior of the offensive line. It's going to be interesting to see how Clay Webb, who transferred in for Georgia, when he goes back up to this level of FBS, how he does against this, because he was really dominant when they were down a tier of football. D-line, they're getting everyone back on this unit. My worry is this, though. They're going to be playing as players that are bigger. You know, are they going to be able to get that interior push that they were getting because they really aren't a big unit? Are they going to be able to create havoc in the backfield? Linebacker, they're losing some top talent here in Benton and Tolles. They're both gone. But they are bringing in Drake from Louisiana Monroe. But I really feel the losses of Benton and Tuas is going to be huge. I think this group is going to really struggle this year to cover the middle of the field. DBs, again, this unit's going to be tough to trust. They're losing 2 starters and 2 players that would be starting got suspended. So they're losing talent and depth here in the back 4. Special teams, they're returning everyone, could actually be one of the better units in the conference. I look at this. I mean, they're going from facing 11 FBS schools to 11 schools up a tier. They have some good units on the offensive side, serious questions on the defensive side. I think it's going to be a long year. I don't think we're going to see a JMU running them.
I think it really depends to me on if those receivers at this next level can kind of not necessarily get separation, but if they can fight for the ball and like actually compete with the DBs that they're going to be facing in Conference USA. And I don't know. I feel like being in Cuse is pretty like it's helpful for them.
Yeah, I mean it's a down conference.
I really feel like the head coaching, I mean, Rich Rod to me makes the difference. I'm thinking of what he was able to do as offensive coordinator at ULM over the last 2 years. I do believe that they went there. Yeah, and they went over their win totals both times. I especially because I don't think that it was really Terry Bowden doing much at ULM. Like me and my friends called him Floby when we were kids.
Watch what you say about Tear. Watch what you say about Tear.
Didn't know you were a big Terry Bowden fan, Eric.
I'm pro Terry, dude. I like the Tear.
I kind of think if you have undersized players, I feel like Rich Rod is a good kind of coach to have to be calling plays. Like I think of like none of his West Virginia teams were like never really huge or anything. I think he's good at kind of accentuating those sort of like speed and strengths, going up tempo and everything. I mean, we'll go through the schedule. I kind of like him as like a sneaky, like win the conference, finish top 2, but not be able to go to the championship game kind of team.
And looking at the schedule, it actually kind of breaks decently. They have one back-to-back, but they get Western Kentucky at home. Let's just get right into it. Yeah. They start off with UTEP, but at home.
How do you guys feel about all these conference games to start?
I don't mind it.
I really don't. I'm
especially when you're a 9-team
Yeah.
It does.
I don't
It
know.
does in some regards because me and Chase have been breaking down like week by week for the gymnasium. It does in some regards feel like the cupcake part of the season kind of lasts a little bit longer because of it.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of okay with it. It makes for some really exciting week 0 matchups and week 1 matchups, which we don't usually get.
Yeah.
So, Eric, I'm going to chalk UTEP as a loss for Jacksonville State for you.
You know what? I've already locked in the +1.5. So give me minors. Give me my minors. Give me the 915.
Because it's at home, I'm going to give them the just join the FBS excitement dub there. Just join the FBS magic is real.
I'm going to chalk this up as a loss. So it's UTEP, ETSU, and at Coastal before their first bye week. I think they get 2 of them, though. I give them 2. I think they win at Coastal.
Yeah, I'll give them Coastal as well.
I'll give them.
So, Chase, do you have them going 3-0 to start?
I believe so. Hold on. What was the second game? What was game
Eastern
2?
Tennessee. Eastern Tennessee State.
3-0 to start.
3-0.
Yeah.
I'm going to give them 2-1. I'm going to be up on them.
I'm going to give them 1-2.
Off the bye week, it's Eastern Michigan at home, and then at Sam Houston and at Middle Tennessee.
2-1.
I'm going to give them one of those ones. I'm
going to give them 1.
Yeah, I'm going to give them 1. I'm going to give them 1. I as much as Rich Rod's a good coach, I think they just beat Sam Houston. I think they lose the other 2. Liberty and Western Kentucky both at home.
They get one of the 2.
They get one of those.
Liberty's down. I think they could possibly beat Liberty.
That's who I'm thinking too. So I'm at 4 wins right now. Eric, you're at 2?
I'm at 3. Liberty,
3.
Liberty, Sam Houston, and East Tennessee.
Chase, what are you at right now? Are you at 6 wins right now?
Yeah, I'm at 6.
Oh my God. Before their next bye week, they go to they play at FIU and at South Carolina. So I'm going to give them FIU because I don't think that, like, if you're Jacksonville State, you don't look ahead to anybody, even a P5 school. And then off the bye week, it's La Tech at New Mexico State.
I'm going to go L and L there.
Yeah, I'm going to probably have them go 0-2 there.
I got them at 4 wins, excuse me.
So 7-5 for me.
I got them at 5. I got them at 5-7. So the win total is 5.5. Chase, you're taking that over at -110?
Yeah, I'm going to take the just kind of meat and potatoes 110 over there.
I'm not going to touch this one. I lean towards the under just a smidge, but it's -115, but I'm not touching it. I'm not going to bet this one. I already have my FIU bet in. Eric, I assume you're not touching this one?
Not touching. If I had to bet, I'd bet the under.
Up next, it is Libibity. It is Liberty. The what are they? The Hawks?
Flames.
They're birds. Fuck them.
The Lames. It's more
over
like it.
Under set at 9 wins exactly. The under is juiced to -130, over +100. They are +230 to win the conference. Everybody.
I mean, they're returning 26, 5 offensive, only 3 defensive starters. Interested to see what happens in Liberty's quarterback room. Caden Slaughter has a strong arm, will be better than Brewer was last season. Slaughter was good in the 4 games he played last season when Brewer was hurt. But I'm interested to kind of see, is he going to make that step from his freshman to sophomore year? If we're going to see that growth, this team could be something, because I think this kid does have quote unquote it. They lost a lot in the running back room, but they brought back James Joyner and Quentin Cooley in the portal. And they also added freshman Vaughn Blue, who will work into the mix as the season progresses. Wide receiver, again, we've talked about it before. They lose 3 out of their top 4, and they lost their best one in Douglas. I know they're adding 5 transfers, but who's going to be the guy that moves the chains when he has that 3rd and 12, 3rd and 9? Who's going to be the guy that they're looking for? I don't know. O-line, they're returning 3 starters, getting a transfer from West Virginia, and Akron to round out the starting group. They brought in Bill Durkin to coach the group, who's one of the better college football offensive line coaches. So I think by mid-season, this line is going to be looking a lot better because they are instituting a new scheme, but I think it's going to take a little while for them to get it growing. D-line, this group took a huge hit. It was great last year. They only have one starter back. They lost their top three players, which is going to be huge because, again, are they going to be able to create pressure and wreak havoc in the opposing backfield? Linebacker room is going to be worse than the defensive line. They're switching from a 4-2-5 to a 4-2-5 system. They really don't have the talent in the linebacker room to play this type of defense. I know they added Brandon Bishop, but I really don't think he's going to be able to bring the athleticism that is needed in the linebacker position to play the 4-2-5. DB's strength of the defense. Defensive line can't create any pressure. But my worry is this. It's such an offensive game right now. If the quarterback's just back there picking, like waiting, eventually these guys are going to get open, the opposing team's wide receivers, or there's going to be some sort of penalty just because DBs aren't allowed to touch opposing wide receivers at all. So I think the downfall of them not be able to create pressure is really going to hurt this defense. They lost their punter and their long snapper, so I'm a little bit down on the special teams unit. They have an easy schedule, though, so it's really hard for me to decide what to do in this group because I think their schedule does play out nicely, but they have a ton of question marks when you really look at their units.
I'm thinking they could end up being just their offense will be decent. Their defense won't be able to keep them in games at all. So I assume they're just going to play in a bunch of like really close shootouts. And a lot of those are probably going to end up being coin flips against some of these like decent to better teams.
Which is basically it, yeah.
I think they're just like a worse version of what we've seen from Coastal Carolina for the last few years.
That's just basically the best. That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Just an overall gripe of the composition of the coaching staff. I hate that there's co-offensive coordinators. I also hate that there's a co-defensive coordinator. And then on their website, they don't list who the other co is. Like, who is this Grand Oz, like pulling the lever?
It's actually me.
Curtain, man.
It's actually me.
It's you. It's Uncle Rico. Yeah.
No, they propriated the Fan Control Football League software, and now the fans of Liberty get to vote on defensive plays.
I had a couple athletic directors reach out to me after I tweeted out I could call a better offensive and defensive plan sitting from my couch than any coach in America. So they want to take me up on that. So I'm just going to be on my coach, just calling stuff out. Just call it out. Dude.
So Eric was saying the schedule's easy. Let's get right into it. They start off with Bowling Green and New Mexico State, both at home.
2 wins.
I'm going to say 1-1.
Okay, so I'm just going to list off the first 4 real quick again. So Bowling Green, New Mexico State, at Buffalo, at FIU. I'm going to go 2-2 there.
I think they could be 3-1.
They could be 3-1. I'm going to go 2-2.
I'm going to go 2-2 with the Buffalo's MAC, right? With 2 losses to the MAC teams.
I like it, Chase. I like where your head's at. Off of the bye week, it's Sam Houston and then at Jacksonville State.
Those are splits.
Yep. I think 1-1 there. Middle Tennessee and then at Western Kentucky. I think that's 0-2.
0-2, yep.
I'll actually go with the split there. Yeah.
Ooh.
I think they could maybe Middle Tennessee because Middle Tennessee doesn't have much of an offense at all, and that's gonna be the Liberty games. Just score points.
After that, it's La Tech, ODU, UMass, and then they finish the season at UTEP.
I mean, I think they win their homecoming game hosting La Tech.
Yeah.
ODU.
I think that's a win.
I think that's a win. I think they can beat. I mean, it's UMass, and I think they lose to UTEP.
Yeah, I think they go 3-1 to end the season.
I'll say.
Just letting you guys know before you say everything. Since moving up to the FBS in road finales, Liberty 0-5 straight up.
Yeah, I think they lose to UTEP.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I have them
think
at 6.
I got him as a 6-6 team. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, my whole thing with them is if their quarterback, who I think is good, if he takes that big step, which I think he's capable of, I mean, there's like 2 defenses in the conference that are going to be able to kind of wreak havoc and stop him.
Yeah, but that defense is as bad as we're thinking it's going to be.
But
It's
I mean,
just going to
how
be
many
like
offensive attacks, when you look at their schedule, you're like, oh shit. You know what I mean? Like,
probably 3.
yeah. I think there's a wide margin on this team. So I'm
they
staying
could
away
be
from the ender, but
the
yeah,
fact that
like
it's 9,
under,
like
though, you should play like an adjusted under of like an 8.5.
yes,
Try to get a better price.
because then you probably
Yeah,
get plus
for sure.
money.
Yeah.
We're at 9. It's minus 130. Obviously, I lean towards the under, but if you can get it under 8.5, it's probably close to like minus 110.
Yeah, if I'm still 2.5 games clear of where I'm projecting them, then the alternate line under for any alternate line under for plus money that's within that 2.5 game spread is worth the play.
Damn right it is. Okay, up next we have the La Tech, Louisiana Tech. It is the La Tech Techers. That's what I'm calling them from here on out. Over under set at 6.5, minus 135 on the over, plus 110 on the under. They are plus 650 to win the CUSA.
They are returning 27, 8 offensive starters, 4 defensive starters. They are bringing in Jim's favorite player, Hank Batchmere from Boise State, to be QB1.
Oh, I was a big Bachmeier fan. Huge fan of the box.
I mean, it's a pass-happy offense. It's going to give them every chance to put up good numbers. They could have the best running back unit in the country. Crosby was 3rd team all conferences back. They have a speedster in Thornton, and they have a Miami transfer Shelton. Good 3-headed monster. They have a guy that can run in between the tackles. They have a home run hitter. Wide receivers, they lost Trey Harris, but they're returning pretty much everyone else. Best name in college football, Smoke Harris, is their guy that can move the chains. Cyrus Allen has been the talk of camp and could eventually be a breakout star of the season. Plus, they added Crawford from Nebraska and Riviera from Cal Poly. Sneaky good group. Abraham Delphin is back for year 7, but he's coming back from a season-ending injury. So when you have these big offensive linemen and they have like serious knee injuries, I'm always a little bit leery of them, to how much they can move and everything.
When did he get injured?
At the beginning of last season. They also lost Joshua Morte, who was he was their best one last year. Not really sure what to expect from this offensive line. Obviously, if Delphin is a go, this unit will be good, but if he struggles, they're really going to struggle. Protecting a defensive line unit was awful. They allowed 400 yards rushing twice and finished with just 16 sacks. Their best player, Ross, transferred to Arkansas. This unit will have JUCO, D2, and FCS players starting. I doubt they're going to be able to do much better. Plus, they lost their best player, the guy that was able to actually create havoc and win one-on-one chances with Ross. So I really don't know if they're going to be able to get to the quarterback. Linebackers, they lost 6 of 7, but talent coming in via the portal. Could be better than last season's, but it's really lacking depth. DB the unit depends on how well the transfers do in this unit. They have 2 starters back, adding 4 transfers. This unit needs to gel. They did lose BJ Williamson, who was huge. He was their best player, 2nd team all conference. They have the special teams. They have the best returner in the game. It's Smoke Harrison, but they did lose their punter, who did do a good job of flipping the field.
They didn't do themselves a ton of favors with their out-of-conference schedule either.
I have a trivia question for you guys.
Shoot.
How many road games has Louisiana Tech lost in a row?
Well, they were 3-9 last year.
14.
Jim, you sly son of a bitch.
Oh,
That's impressive.
let's go.
Impressive.
You sly son of a bitch. I mean, obviously, in my eyes, offense, it just depends how much the transfer Botchmere does. Is he able to move the chains or not? Defense depends if they can create pressure and stop the run. I don't think they're going to be able on it. I'm not high on this team that much. I'll be looking to bet a lot of the teams overs because I think their defense is really going to struggle.
14 is so bad.
This team feels like I don't think they're going to the playoff, of course, but they feel like mini TCU to me because they just fucking owned the transfer portal when it comes to, I think they did the best out of Conference USA. I really like Sonny Cumbie out of Texas, from, I believe Texas Tech was his last stop, where, I mean, they're going to sling the ball around the yard. He's a Texas Tech coach. And I don't know. I think with these transfers, like I really think things line up really well for Louisiana Tech.
That's the thing with these kinds of schools, that when they take all these shots on transfers, it's almost like a coin flip. Because if they don't work, it goes really, really bad.
It's true.
But
it's very true.
It could easily work out really well.
I think just the fact that they didn't really get rated in the transfer portal, that they went 3-9 and still, there weren't people bailing for other options. Everyone kind of stayed together, and it could just mean that no one else wanted them, of course. But I like it. I like it for the Bulldogs.
The out-of-conference schedule does no favors for the win total, but I don't hate the way that their schedule is set up for conference play. They start off with FIU. Always nice. Get the dub. At SMU afterwards is tough.
I think that's a loss.
Yeah, I'm going to put that up as a loss. Northwestern State, the Demons. That's a win. That's a fucking win. North Texas afterwards, at home.
I'm going to say that's a win.
I'm also going to say that's a win. I think North Texas is entering a full rebuild season almost.
Yeah.
At Nebraska and at UTEP back to back. Rough.
I'm going to go 1-1. Split it. I think they get the win at UTEP.
I think they go 0-2.
I'm with Eric here. I think they go 0-2. If this was the back to back is just tough. Western Kentucky and then at Middle Tennessee.
I think they lose to Western Kentucky.
Yeah, I split it.
Yeah, I think they go 1-1 here. So I got them at 3 wins right now going into the bye. Chase, do you have them at 4 right now?
Yes.
Okay. Off the bye week, New Mexico State. At home, I'm going to say that's a win.
Yep.
Give them the win.
At Libibity.
Win.
I think it's a shootout.
Yeah, I think it's a shootout too. And you know what? Give me La Tech. Sam Houston at Jacksonville State to end the season.
Jacksonville State is coming off a bye.
Yes.
And I mean, that's a long ass bye, dude.
Last week bye is bullshit.
Yeah.
So they'll probably split those. I think they lose to Georgia.
Yeah, I think they split those as well. I have them sitting at 1, 2, I have them at 7 wins.
9.
I have them at
Chase
5.
has them at 9 wins.
I got a 9-win season for Louisiana Tech.
Sheesh.
I got 5.
We're all we have the whole spectrum here, and that makes me just want to stay away from it, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, what's the number on
6.5 plus 110 on the under, minus 135 on the over. Eric, I'm surprised you're not taking this under.
I would lean to the under, but there's a lot. How can I word this? There's a lot of question marks with every team but 2 in this conference in my eyes.
CUSA is wild. It is wild.
Yeah.
I'm hatching my wagon to one team, and I'm just going to ride it with them in this conference.
That's kind of what you see in the win totals as well. There's 2 teams that are above 8, one that is below 4, and then I think the rest are all 5.5, 6.5, 5, 4. It's all right in the middle.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of 6-6, 5-7 kind of teams.
They're trying to be the MAC of the South.
Right.
Up next, it is Middle Tennessee State. Their win total is set at 6.5 at minus 130 on the over, plus 100 on the under. They are plus 350. Plus 350 to win the conference, boys.
Returning 44, 5 offensive, 8 stars on defense. Obviously, the season depends how good they can replace Case Cunningham. Nick Vedetto is going to come in. I don't think he's going to be able to come close to that production, so I think this is going to be a step backwards. Obviously, they got Frade Pleasant, who was second team all-conference last season. He's back. Good north-south physical runner. They added Credell from NIU, so it's a good little combo system they have. Wide receivers, are they going to be able to move the chains? You know, we've talked about it a couple times. Who's going to be that chain mover? Lane transferred to Vatech, and they lost 2 more to graduation. I know that England is coming back, but again, he's coming back from an injury. What are we going to see from him? Is he going to be able to be what he was last year? O-line, they only averaged 109 on the ground, gave up 37 sacks for the season. Not good numbers. They lost 2 starters and 2 backups while adding transfers from FIU and Jacksonville State. This group is a big question mark. I think it may be slightly worse than the group last season. Defensive line, they lost Jordan Ferguson, who was the best defensive lineman in the conference, but they added Brandon Buckner from Oregon. So they get 3 starters back, adding Buckner. I think this unit's going to be decent. Linebacker, interesting unit here. They are deep, returning a ton, but how good are these kids? Their defensive line was so good last year. We really don't know, because the defensive line was so good, it was able to Band-Aid what these kids had to do in the linebacker corps. The defensive line isn't creating the pressure, isn't creating the havoc. It's going to make everyone behind it not look as good, and that's my worry with the linebacking core going into this year, even though we're turning everyone. DBs, they lost Patterson and Staley to the transfer portal. They have added Ross, who is second team all conference. They have 5 players with significant experience playing. I think this unit will be close to what we saw last year. Special teams were great last season. Part of the reason was their punter, but they lost him. Is the Mercer transfer, Trey Turk, going to be able to flip the field like they were able to do last year? Defense, you know, carried them last year, but they have a ton of question marks on the offense. I don't know. This is one of those teams. Would it surprise me if they go 3-9? No. Would it surprise me if they win 8 games? No. I think there's a big range of what this team could do, kind of depending on what their offense does.
My biggest worry for teams at this level in like conferences like Conference USA that are a team like Middle Tennessee State is what happens if they don't get momentum to start the season. What happens if in fact they get anti-momentum to start the season? And this early season schedule is brutal. Their out of conference is fucking brutal.
I mean, it's true, but typically they did have brutal out of conference schedules, you know, like with playing, you know, bigger teams in previous years. I think that it was a decent team defensively, really bad team offensively. They've gone to a bowl game 7 out of 10 years. It just feels like a prescription for a recipe for 6-6, honestly.
It kind of feels that way, honestly. I think you're right.
I'm just taking coin flip odds with this team, honestly.
6.5 is the win total. So let's get right into the schedule. I mean, at Alabama, at Missouri to start the season.
Call me bold. I'm gonna say 0-2.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it 0-2 there. Murray State after that at home. Give me a win.
I'll give you that one.
Colorado State at home after that.
I'm gonna give them an L there.
I'm going to give them the dub.
So they beat Colorado State in Colorado State last year. I think Colorado State, they're going to be. I haven't done a deep dive on them.
Second year in Novo's system.
I want to think Colorado State's going to really improve a lot this year. So I'm going to give them an L. At Western Kentucky and then Jacksonville State at home.
So you play a physical Mountain West team, then on the short rest, you go to play one of the top 2 teams on a Thursday.
Yeah, I could double L's.
That's
there.
Yeah. So
and not to mention, it's another short week because they played at Jacksonville State on the Wednesday after that.
But they get them at home, though.
They do get them at home.
And what's up with like Middle Tennessee? What's up with Conference USA playing all these like weekday games now, trying to steal the Max Thunder.
I said it earlier. They're trying to be the Mac of the South.
I mean,
You can't be. It's
You
impossible.
You can't.
Don't get me
no one.
wrong.
No one can replicate Maction. It's impossible.
I would.
No,
love
it needs to be
have
played
a-
inside of an abandoned Goodyear tires factory.
I would love a little Jacksonville State, Middle Tennessee on ESPN2 on October 4th, nestled up with a nice Miller Lite.
That sounds pretty nice, honestly.
Pretty
It sounds
nice.
like a great evening.
I like how they play a Thursday, a Wednesday, and then a Tuesday schedule when they play Louisiana Tech, and then another Tuesday at Liberty.
Honestly, I said 6, and now I really don't feel great about the 6.
This is tough.
I'm just gonna sum it up by saying under.
Before their bye week, I got them going like 2, maybe 3 wins.
I think the ceiling's 3.
Before the bye week, yeah. Out of the bye week, it's at New Mexico State.
I'm gonna give them a win, just because it's right after the bye.
Sure, yeah, I'll agree with that.
I'll give them the win, but that's not a gimme at all. You know what? No, I'm gonna give it a loss. I'm gonna chalk it up as a loss, and then it's FIU, UTEP, and at Sam Houston. I think at best they go 2-2 after the bye week. At best.
Well, 2 of those teams are coming off byes, though.
That's why I said at best.
FIU and UTEP are coming off byes. Yeah. I
still think they could be. I think FIU is gonna be real bad, dude.
I think they could be FIU, Sam Houston, maybe. I mean, they'll beat New Mexico or Sam Houston and beat FIU, so that's 2.
Their ceiling to me is 5, maybe 6 wins.
Yep.
I'm taking the under 6.5 at it's plus 100. It's even money.
Yeah, I would love that. Love that those odds. That's a must play if you're getting plus money on it for me.
They are plus 350 to win the conference, though, and those odds are weird to me when I'm seeing it, but it's weird. They're like the 3rd favorite to win the conference. It's weird.
Well, yeah.
Up next, the New Mexico State Aggies. Win total set at 5 on the money. Over is minus 150. Under is plus 120. They are 30-1, plus 3,000 to win the Conference USA. This is their first season in a conference, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were independent last year.
Returning 40, 7 offensive, 9 defensive starters. Quarterback room, interesting to me, as they have Shoemaker is going to start. He looked okay, but if he struggles, they have Double G. Grant Gunnell, who at one time was
what was that last name?
Gunnell, right? Gunnell?
I think you're right. It sounds wild to me.
Number 2 high school pro style quarterback, played at Memphis, Arizona, and North Texas. If he gets a chance, I think he could do something against these defenses. So I'm going to look to back Sam Houston if they make a quarterback switch. Leading rusher is back. They're also adding Gentry from Utah State. And one of last year's quarterback, Jordan Yates, is switching positions. Interesting group, but they're going to have to step it up just because of step up in competition. Wide receiver, they have their best wide receiver back, whose name I'm not going to attempt to pronounce because I'll botch it. They used a red shirt on him. He will be another number 1. They also averaged highly touted JUCO transfer Humphreys. Interesting group, could be pretty good here. Offensive line, let's just take a step backwards here. They're returning 2 starters. This group as a whole has 50 career starts. They're going to struggle with a step up in competition. D-line unit is good. I think they're going to be a little better than people realize. They're led by Leon, who will be first team all-conference player. They added Meatball Smith from Georgia State and Jaden Phillips from New Mexico. This unit should be able to cause some issues against opposing teams, everyone but Western Kentucky and UTEP, who have great offensive lines. Linebacker group is actually better than the defensive line group. They have 9 players returning with experience. Their leader tackler is back, plus their whole core is back, obviously, because they're returning everyone. This is going to be one of the better units in the conference. DB is returning 4 of their 8, plus they added some JUCO transfers to help with depth. Alexander is back. He was redshirted. One thing Sam Houston started to do last year is they started to redshirt a lot of their key players after 4 games to make sure they'd be part of this unit taking a step up. They are losing their 3-year starting kicker, so really hard if it's that tight game to trust their kicking game. Team could surprise. I know they had a down year last season, at 5-4, but they, like I said, they did redshirt a lot of their key guys. I think this could be a sneaky team to bet in certain situational spots.
Eric, you skipped a team, but I'll allow it.
You went to Houston, right?
No, we were doing New Mexico State.
You know what, dude? I want to talk fucking Sam Houston, dude.
It's fine. We'll just go straight to Sam Houston. It's okay.
You know what?
I
don't like New Mexico. I don't like the Aggies, dude.
I guess you don't. But yeah, their win total set at 4, over under, overs minus 125, unders plus 100. Their schedule's tough, dude. Their schedule's real tough. I don't
with the way their schedule lines up. I feel like they got absolutely boned with like their in-conference schedule and kind of how their out-of-conference schedule contributes to it. And it's one, they have to play who I think are going to be the toughest teams in the conference, like all on the road. And then 2, where they got Hawaii at home last year. Now they got to fly to Hawaii, and they've got games after Hawaii. It's an effort to get out to the island. Like, they managed to duck San Jose State last year because of a postponed game. So they had like 3 bye weeks essentially. And
Chase, before I let you finish, because we got jumbled up because Eric jumped ahead.
Oh, now I'm talking about New Mexico State instead of Sam Houston. Let's go. Let's talk Sam Houston.
Schedule.
Let's go Sam Houston.
Sam Houston State schedule at BYU. Loss.
Yeah.
Loss.
A neutral site against Air Force for
loss.
Yeah, loss. Early bye week sucks for them at Houston. Loss.
Yeah.
Jacksonville State. Loss.
Yeah.
Libimity and at New Mexico State. I'm saying 0-2.
Yeah.
What are you saying, Eric? What are you saying, Eric?
I think they're going to be on October 11th with 2 wins.
I think they're going to be on October 11th with 0 wins.
Okay.
At best, they maybe get Air Force in like a surprise one.
Yeah.
After that, it's FIU and UTEP both at home.
I think they beat FIU.
Yeah, I think that's 1, maybe 2 wins there.
I'm going to give them FIU also.
As in, like, they get to 2 wins. I don't think they're beating UTEP. Kennesaw State at home after that.
That's a win.
That's a win.
I contemplated this being their only win, but yes.
It very well could be. And then it's at La Tech and at Western Kentucky back-to-back. Double loss.
I have them losing out after they beat.
And then Middle Tennessee after that. I have them at most 3 wins.
I have 4.
2.
At most, I have 3. I'm betting this under. It's even money. Give it to me.
I'm with you. That's where I play.
What?
What's it at?
The over's minus 125. The under's plus 100.
And what's the number? I'm sorry?
4.
Oh, pass. Like that. I have them right at 4. So
I have them at best 3. You can still push, Eric. You can push.
No need.
Since we've kind of broken down Sam Houston and New Mexico State, do we just dive straight into the New Mexico State schedule?
I think we're fine doing that. Sorry, Jerry Kill and New Mexico State Aggies. You don't get an Eric breakdown. He hates you.
I'll do it.
Give us the spark notes. Give us the spark notes.
I got it. 37 returning, 9-4. Pavel will be the starter last season. Started the last 5. Led him to a win over Liberty. If they do struggle, Stowers from Texas A&M did transfer in. Running back room, good mix here. They have a speedster, and they have the between the tackles runner in Jones. Wide receiver group, this group is thrown to the Wolves last season. Little experience at the D1 level. But as the season progressed, finish off pretty decent. They're losing their top guy, but they're returning everyone else. They have a bunch of young guys that they're going to throw to the Wolves again. By the time the season gets to November, I think we'll see this unit become a little bit more reliable. Offensive line was interesting last year. At week 4, they inserted 2 freshmen at tackle. And ever since they did that, they saw their sacks per game decrease, and they were able to get their yards per game up to 161 rushing. They are returning 4, plus those 2 freshmen are now sophomores. They added Jacob Golden from Boise State. So, look, this offensive line is going to be decent. Second year in the 4-2-5 system will be better than last year's group. They really couldn't anchor down a starting unit last year because of the injuries. They have 6 players with starting experience. They added Tank Wilson from Arizona and Denver Warren from Bowling Green. Sneaky good versus a run. So I think the D line is going to be good. Linebacker room, huge concern for me, even though they get their top tackler in Elliott back from last year and are adding Jamar Buden from Penn State. I don't know. There's just something about this unit. I think they're going to struggle a little bit. DBs, they're losing 3 starters from last season. They're adding transfers, but I'm worried about the experience. Special teams, I know that their punter has transferred to Arizona State. They did add Southeast Missouri's Zach Haynes, who was first team all conference 2 years in a row. As crazy as it sounds, I think he's better than the punter that transferred out. Overall, what Tailgate was great last season. They started 0-4, went 7-2 down the stretch. Their win total was 3 last season, and this year it has been bumped to 5.5, 6.5, depending on the book.
Seeing 5, baby. That's what we're going with. We're going with 5.
I mean, but when you look at the schedule, it's hard for me seeing them getting to 6. 3 road games in a row, UTEP on a Wednesday night, then Louisiana Tech on a Tuesday night, so short rest, then Middle Tennessee off a bye, then back-to-back road games at Western Kentucky and Auburn. Tough schedule. 6 wins is going to be hard to come by in my eyes.
Their schedule is brutal. As Chase alluded to earlier, let's get right into it. UMass, Western Illinois to start off. I think they could go 2-0.
I agree.
At Liberty and at New Mexico and at Hawaii, back to back is brutal.
I think
I'm
they
going
win
to give
1.
them.
I give them 1.
I'm going to get the win against New Mexico. I'm going to give them the win against Hawaii.
You're giving them 2.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I can see it, but I'm going to give them 1 in that group. So I have them going 3 wins into the bye week. FIU after the bye week, give me New Mexico State.
Yeah.
Sam Houston after that, that's a win.
That's a loss.
At UTEP and at Louisiana Tech.
Both losses.
Both losses for me as well. Middle Tennessee, at Western Kentucky, at Auburn, Jacksonville State.
I'm going to give them Middle Tennessee.
Middle Tennessee and Louisiana Tech are both coming off byes.
So in that last stretch from UTEP to Jacksonville State, so UTEP, La Tech, Middle Tennessee, Western Kentucky, Auburn, Jacksonville State, I'll give them 2.
I've completely lost count of what I have. I feel like I thought I had him at like 6. I had him at like 6 earlier. I do think, now after hearing Uncle Rico talk and him being much better at this than I am, I've kind of start to lean towards him. What your guys, with how their schedules line up, and I'm going to say I went from 6 down to like 4 or 5 now. This is a don't touch for me.
5, yeah. The win total set at 5. It's plus 120 on the under. I've come down very much on this team in the 5 seconds that I gave beforehand.
Yeah.
The 5 seconds.
I gave 5 seconds of research to New Mexico State, and it was Jerry Kill just reading up on my boy.
Yeah. We set the line on seizures at 1.5.
Yeah.
I got 4, maybe 5 wins with this team.
That's brutal. Are you betting this under? Are you touching this under at all, Eric? At 5?
Nope. Not touching. No bet.
Not touching this one either. Up next, I'm getting fuddled around. We are on UTEP, the Miners. Baby, win total is set at 5.5. It's minus 115 both ways on our friends over at Bet Online.
Returning 38, 8 offensive starters, 7 defensive starters. No brainer. This is Gavin Harrison's job. 4-year starter, rocket arm, and will have the offensive line to have his best season ever. Last year, Ronald Awak was their leading rusher. He is gone, and it was a rough start to the season last year for Deion Hankins. But toward the middle of the season, he started to look like his old self because he was recovering from a shoulder injury. Finished as second team all conference. He's back this season. Arguably could be the best running back in the whole conference. Miners' biggest win of the offseason was Tyron Smith is back. Smith entered the portal. He went to Texas A&M. But when Elias Smith announced that he was coming back for his fifth season, Tyron Smith re-entered the portal and ended up back at UTEP. We talk about it all the time. You need a true number one wide receiver, someone that can move the chains, a big playmaker, and that's what the Miners have in Smith now that he's back. 1,000-yard receiver last year for UTEP. They have 2 of their top 5 returning, plus getting 4 JUCO transfers. I think this unit's going to be insanely better compared to last year's. Offensive line. Bad news is they lost Jameer Bynes, who was first team all conference, who transferred to Florida State. But the good news is they have 4 starters back. The 4 were all conference at some level last year. So either honorable mention, first team, second team, there are some level of that. They have 122 career starts. This is the best unit in the conference in my eyes, and they will improve on the 167 yards per game rushing they got last season. Defensive line, they lost Jaden Tyler, who led the conference in sacks from last year's team, but they are adding Praise Amorar and Keenan Stewart, who were both second team all conference last year at different conferences. They're adding 7 JUCO transfers, and their coach said that this group is better than last season's group. Linebacker room, I like it a lot. Wilson is coming back from an injury. He only played 2 games last year. You're pairing him with Trice Knight, who had 95 tackles last year, second team all conference. I think this unit's going to be better than the unit last year. DBs last year, one of the worst in the conference. They have 3 stars returning. They average a transfer from New Mexico. I think this unit's going to be improved because the defensive line is going to be able to get to the quarterback more, and they're going to be able to band-aid the issues that they have back there. Worry point for me is the kicking game. They lost their kicker, who made 92% of his kicks last year. If it's a close game against WKU, they're going to be able to make the kick. Last year, they finished at 5-7, but they were plus 50 per yards per game in conference plays. They have the best offensive line in the conference, arguably one of the best defensive line in the conference, along with a 4-year starting quarterback, one of the best running backs in the conference, the best wide receiver in the conference. Plus, when you look at their schedule, they play 1 team on the road that had a winning record in conference play.
God damn it, Eric, you're such a good salesman.
I love this team. Plus 1,600 to win the conference and over 5.5 wins for Miner Nation for me.
I think that if any team is going to look like what New Mexico State did last year, I kind of think it's UTEP. I think they might have a brutal first part of the schedule and then just go on a crazy run late was kind of how I was thinking. But I also really do like this over quite a bit.
I do love the over, and I'm with you, Chase. Just looking over the schedule, I think they could very easily have a rough start. So they start at Jacksonville State to open the season.
I'm still Jacksonville State, and we just jumped to the FBS magic. That's why the L there, essentially.
I gave him a win. I'm sure Eric gave him a win.
I gave him a win.
UIW Cardinals, baby.
That's going to be a win.
And then it's at Northwestern and at Arizona.
It's double L's.
I don't know. That's a weird Northwestern team. Like, that's a Northwestern loss if I
But here's the thing.
I'm giving them 2 L's, but Jesus.
With Northwestern and Stanford, this is the thing we need to remember when we talk about these teams. There's 2 teams that don't do NIL deals in college football. Stanford and Northwestern.
Yeah.
And Northwestern just lost their best defensive lineman to the NFL draft and their best offensive lineman to the NFL draft.
I trust the O-line coach to consistently make something happen there, though.
Kurt Anderson is one of the better offensive line coaches in the country. I think, though, it wouldn't surprise me if they cover both of these games against these two teams.
That wouldn't surprise me if they got the cover. No. I think they could beat Northwestern, and depending on what I see the money line is, I might take that. But on this, I give it to Northwestern more times than not. I trust, even with the NIL shit, and even though I feel like Northwestern's been a way worse team since their defensive coordinator retired like 3 years ago, I'm going to give it to Pat Fitzgerald. I'm going to give it to Northwestern. I have them.
No NIL deal, but just excellent theater arts department.
Yes.
I mean, Charlton Heston.
Great journalism school, I guess.
Great J school. Great J school.
I have them at 1 win, and then it's UNLV at home and La Tech at home.
I got them double L's there, too.
I have them winning both. Like,
I'm going to be a little bit teppish and go 1-1.
I really like Barry. I think Barry Odom might do something cool at UNLV this year. We'll see.
Year 1. Could be.
Yep.
Off of the bye week, it's at FIU, the New Mexico State at home.
Double wins.
I think they could win this.
Yeah, I'm going to give them double wins there. Then it's at Sam Houston, Western Kentucky at home. That could also be double wins, but I'm going to have them go 1-1.
I think they
double wins.
I think they lose to Western Kentucky.
I think they lose to Western Kentucky. You know what? No, give me the win against Western Kentucky, because UTEP almost beat UTSA last year, and UTSA is just a way better Western Kentucky. Give me the win. 2 wins right there.
UTEP was up 24-0 and should have won that.
They should have. I remember how upset you were.
I was livid.
You were very, very mad. Off of the second bye week, it's at Middle Tennessee and then Liberty. I'm going to give them 2 wins there.
Yep.
I have this UTEP team with probably 3, maybe 4 losses on the season.
I am the same way. I have 8-9 wins.
I've got them somewhere in the 6 to 7 win range. Either way, I
we're all on the over, just different varying
overplay.
levels of confidence.
Yeah, pretty much.
Last team, boys. It's the favorite. It's Western Kentucky. The win total set at 8.5. They're the favorite to win the conference, but their win total is not the highest. 8.5 is their win total, plus 140 to win the Conference USA.
Austin Reed is back. He'll probably be a late round draft pick. Anytime you have a group of 5 quarterback that's going to get drafted, you have to give the team respect to be favored in the conference. Running back will be true committee. I really don't think they have a quote unquote number 1 running back. Wide receiver room, they did lose a lot here. Their number 2 guy, Davis, their number 3 guy, Hall, all graduated. Plus, they're losing 2-time all-conference tight end Joshua Simmons. First teamer Michael Conley is back. He's going to be their wide receiver 1. They added Capers from Auburn, Blue Smith from Cincy, Holiday from Tennessee, and Edwards from Illinois. So they lost a lot, but they did add a lot of Power 5 talent to the room. It's always one thing for me, like, I know a lot of people, I don't want to use the term get a hard on, but they like, oh, wow, this guy's transferred in from Auburn. But he wasn't able to really produce for all, you know what I mean? So you really don't know what you're getting. And when this change of scenery comes, does this guy like what is his habits? Does he really go as hard as he was in practice? I really don't know what to expect from this wide receiver group. Offensive line last year, my big knock was their O-line, and boy, was I wrong. This unit going into last year, they had to replace 3 all-conference players, and they saw their rushing yard averages per game increase. They allowed only 14 sacks. This year, they did lose Britton, all-conference offensive tackle, and their all-conference center, but they have 3 people returning, and they have Leslie, who was the best offensive lineman in the conference last year, returning. So I think this unit's going to be decent. Defensive line, Edwards, who is a leader tackler, returns, but the bad news is they did lose 5 of their top 8 on last year's depth chart, namely Martin, who is second team all-conference, and Juwan Jones, who is a 5-year starter. They have 6 transfers, but they're lacking some big-time experience. Linebacker room, not high on this defense at all this year, but this linebacker room could be solid. They only have 1 starter returning, and that's Kendrick Simpkins. But they have all freshman team Aaron Key back and adding Lynch from Illinois and Baker from Rice. This group just needs to gel in my unit, but has a chance, I think, to be successful with the talent they're bringing in. DB, any unit when you rely on players that were backup and transfers is tough for me to trust. They're losing 6 of their top 10, and they're losing their best player from last year. I think this unit's going to struggle. I think you're going to be able to throw on this unit a little bit. Special teams, top 50 unit last 3 seasons, but it could take a step backwards. They are losing their kicker again. You know, when you're in that conference championship game against UTEP, man, are you going to be able to make that kick to win the game? Best quarterback, one of the better offensive line, but again, the defense generate enough stops. I really feel that the November 4th game against UTEP is going to decide who wins the regular season conference title.
Honestly, probably. The schedule is fine for the most part, aside from, I'd say, a 2-game stretch in the early part of the season. Other than that, I feel like it's not that bad. They start with South Florida at home.
Big question mark. New coach, new system.
Yeah.
South Florida's been dog shit for like the past 2 or 3 years.
You have to think, though, that, you know, they'll get it done here with the experience at the quarterback position.
Yeah, give me this is a dub for Western Kentucky, I think.
I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna give them the L. I'm gonna say USF does it.
Ooh.
I know they're at home. I don't know. I'm gonna say that I think USF can shock them early.
I like it. Spicy Chase. I like it.
I mean, you're going. Look at you.
HCU Huskies up next.
Oh, that's a win.
It's a win. And then it's at Ohio State, at Troy. That's double loss.
I have double L's.
The one thing about Troy is I always look at teams that had a lot of quote unquote close games and a lot of turnover luck.
They did.
Troy could be. Troy is one of those teams I think I'm going to be looking to fade this year.
That's fair, but I'm always just going to take the back-to-back. I'm going to favor the team in the better conference. And it's back-to-back, and it's after Ohio State. They're going to get, like, brutalized.
Yeah. They're going to be beat up after Ohio State.
You don't think they're live against Ohio State?
I wonder what the spread. What do you think the spread's going to be?
I don't know. The total might be 103, though.
Yeah, it might be. Middle Tennessee and at La Tech to round out before the bye week. I think they go 2-0.
I go 1-1.
So I am at 4
Middle
wins.
Tennessee, they lose La Tech.
You got them at 2 wins right now, Chase?
Let's see. Yeah, I do.
What about you, Eric? Before the bye week, you and me both have them at 4. Off the bye week, it's at Jacksonville State, Liberty at home. I'm gonna give them both of them.
I'm gonna go 2-0. I'll say 2-0.
Yeah. At UTEP, New Mexico State, Sam Houston. I think they go 2-1 in that stretch.
Yeah.
I
will say this: if they beat UTEP, I'm going to fade the shit out of them at New Mexico State when they play.
Oh yes. Like if they beat UTEP, they're not beating New Mexico State after.
Yeah.
And then it's at FIU to end the season. That's a win.
That is a win. All right, let's guess the line.
I got them at 3 losses, by the way.
All right. This is the favorite game that Jim and I play, Chase. Western Kentucky, South Florida.
Oh, Chase, look, we do this all the time for the USFL XFL game. Chase is a baller at this shit.
Guess the line.
I'm going to say Western Kentucky is a 3.5 point favorite.
I'm going to say Western Kentucky is a 5.5 point favorite.
Western Kentucky's laying 14.
Whoa!
UTEP,
I don't feel near as spicy. I just feel poorly seasoned at this point.
Do they have a money line posted, Eric?
They do not have a money line posted.
I'm putting it all on USF. It's all.
Well, these are some week 1 lines. UTEP, Jacksonville State. Guess the line.
UTEP minus 7.5.
I'm gonna go UTEP minus.
I looked it up. I'm
minus 3.5. Going 3.5.
UTEP getting 2.
Yeah.
UMass, New Mexico State.
New Mexico State by 1.5.
I'm not going to say it because I accidentally saw it. So
New Mexico State laying 10.
Whoa!
I mean, dude, that's a big ass number.
should we do like a week one sort of breakdown? Like, because some of these lines are outrageous.
La Tech at SMU. Guess that line.
I mean, SMU's got to be like a, 10.5, 13-point favorite?
16. Liberty, Bowling Green. Guess that line.
I think Liberty ends up the favorite there. I think it's going to be Liberty by 6.5.
12.5.
Middle Tennessee State, Alabama.
48.
32.
38. Seems a little calm. Seems a little calm to me. Some of these.
All right, Sam Houston at BYU.
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 12.5.
I'm going to say BYU minus 21.
I think Chase
23.5.
There you go. I might go the over Western Kentucky here at plus 120.
I'm going to go under. I'm going to play under. I'm going to say this is the one time I fade. I'm going to fade Western Kentucky, even though like this is the one that I'm 100% prepared to be absolutely wrong on.
I am taking
they played way better against a much tougher Conference USA last year.
I've already booked my tickets November 4th to El Paso. I'm going to be in the stands for that bitch.
I'm taking 5 win totals in this conference, boys.
I took 1 win total and 1 to win it all.
I got 2 to win it all. I got the one that I think and then the long shot. So we'll just go in a circle. Eric, start us off, and then Chase can go, and then I'll go.
UTEP over 5.5 and plus 1,600 to win the conference.
If you can find 1,600, go for it. I'm seeing 12 to 1 right now. You still like it at 12 to 1?
Yeah, anything over 10.
Okay.
I'm going to go FIU over 2.5.
Ooh.
Jayville State over 5.5. Louisiana Tech over 6.5. And I'm going to go Sam Houston under 4. And conference champion, I'm just one pick. I'm going to go La Tech.
Plus 650. Not bad.
Sounds beautiful.
So my win totals are FIU under 2.5. I'm going against Chase for that one. Middle Tennessee State under 6.5. Sam Houston under 4. UTEP over 5.5, and Western Kentucky over 8.5.
If I didn't say UTEP over 5.5, then I guess that too.
I think that's implied. We're just all 3 lockstep on that.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
That's. I think that's my favorite one of the whole thing.
I
have a long shot, and I have a who I think's gonna win. I think my safe pick is I'm with Eric. I'm on UTEP. I like him at 12 to 1. My long shot, I'm gonna take a shot on New Mexico State at 30 to 1. If they get like a whole season together, I think they can have a good run in the conference.
I'm like sprinkle a quarter or an eighth of a unit on Jacksonville. Well, never mind. Jacksonville State can't win outright.
Them and Sam Houston cannot.
Yeah.
Dude,
so if I were going to sprinkle, it would be on.
I hate that rule. Do you guys have an opinion on that? Because I hated it last year with James Madison in the Sun Belt. I hate that rule.
Can't stand it.
Yeah, I hate it too. I mean, the same thing with college basketball. We've seen it with a team I'm spacing on 2 years ago. If they're good enough to get into it and win the conference tournament, they should get there. So
they should play.
Who was it Bellarmine? Was that who it was?
Yeah.
Bullshit. Let's go to circle again. Eric, where can the people find you?
At ETOF21 Sports on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, the streets, everywhere.
Case, where can people find you?
Always being abrasive on Twitter at of Oaklawn. Do my horse racing podcast through the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, the Notorious OTB. You can follow that at Notorious_OTB, at Wolf of Oakland on Instagram.
And y'all know where to find me at XFL Gym anytime there is any XFL spring fever, spring football related things going on. There's a lot going on in the garage, folks. Thank you for watching. Thank you for participating. Thank you for listening. And we'll see you guys next week for another episode of the College Football Tailgate. We are fucking